Okay. Have not done one of these in a hot minute. Also, I feel really close to the camera. I'm just gonna back you up a little bit, buddy. Guess who had therapy today, 5 minutes ago? I'm also trying to do this I'm talking to a friend again, updating them, so if it's a bit all over the place with a lot of pauses, I apologize because I don't feel like editing this, and that was the beauty of me doing this during the pandemic, and I thought that was really charming. And it's not like I'm trying to be a professional podcaster right now, so we're just gonna treat it as you and I sitting down over coffee where you listen to me trauma dump on you, and you just you can technically get out of it if you wanted to by pausing and stopping this podcast / or video. Yeah, just imagine me holding you hostage at a coffee shop, and if you get up and leave, I'm going to make a scene. Just kidding. That is okay. So a lot has happened since I have recorded anything. I think the biggest thing that's happened is I lost my sister in December of last year, 2022, and I am still dealing with the shit that comes with a tragedy, with trauma. And I remember I kind of processed this with my therapist today. When I go into therapy, when it's been a minute, I just fucking word vomit, and I talk about a million things at a time. I don't know how she takes notes, because now that I'm a therapist, oh hey, by the way, that was really loud, so sorry. I'm like, how the fuck do you even take notes after this session? I literally talked about a million things, and I had 3 revelations in the span of 10 minutes. Kudos to the people who have been my therapists, because that shit's hard. I know, because I live with myself and my thoughts all the time, so for you to just hear what happens in my brain all day in the span of an hour, you deserve a medal. You deserve a raise. Yeah, so she passed away after finals, during my winter break, and I remember it all so vividly, as one does, well, as one might do in a traumatic situation. Got the call. I was out with some friends and had to go home, obviously. Had to tell my parents. That was, I think, the thing that is one of the most traumatic aspects of the whole thing. Obviously losing my sister will always be one of the most traumatic things I go through, but having to tell your parents that they lost a child, hearing my mom just scream crying, and then having to tell everyone else really sticks with you. So yeah. And then from there on out, I had to coordinate everything, the funeral arrangements, communicating with everyone. If you ever need to know how to set up a funeral, especially if they're in another state, I'm your girl. I can tell you how to do that. I can add that to my resume. Also, I hope my friends that are listening to this, they know, but I can have a really dark sense of humor, so I hope you laugh with me with the things I say. There's another joke that I make all the time, but I only make that with close friends. I feel like a really bad person for saying it, but it's funny to me, and I hope my sister finds it funny. I'll just say it. Jesus fuck. Basically, I always joke that at least my sister was polite enough to wait to pass away until I was on winter break, because I had a month to deal with it. and do everything, and then I had to go back to school. And I hope whenever she hears me say that, she's like flipping me off, pulling my hair, and laughing with me. Oh my god, don't cry again. Oh my god, it's also really hot. It's like I'm recording this on one of the days in San Francisco or the Bay Area where we have a really big heat wave. So I'm like dehydrated from crying and sweating. So I'm like, can you please not cry anymore? You can't control your sweating, so just, yeah. So yeah, and then after her funeral and everything, I think a week after that, I had to go back to school. And I remember everyone like telling me like, I can't believe you're here right now. I can't believe you're back at school. And I had that brave face on of like, yeah, I don't know how I'm here either, but it has to be done. And in a perfect world, I would have paused I would have hit the world on pause and had like a month, 3 months off to process this, because, you know, when I was arranging everything for the funeral, I was the person people had to talk to set things up, answer questions, host. I didn't have time to process it. I couldn't really let myself cry a lot during the services, because then people would feel bad to talk to me and ask me questions about things. So I had to put on my big girl pants and just deal with it. And at the funeral, everyone was like, you're so brave and strong for doing all of this for your family, for your parents. And, you know, admittedly, like, it felt good to hear people say that and acknowledge that, because in my head, it's like, well, I have to do this. Of course I'm doing this. But to have people tell me that, like, they really admired me for what I was doing, it felt good. I don't know if that makes me conceited, but oh my god, I'm so sorry, that was so loud. Oh my god. But yeah, anyway, and then the spring semester happened, and thankfully it wasn't a really, really, really heavy semester. Like, the classes I had, like, were great. Oh my god, a tear just fell out of my eye. I had really understanding professors. And then the summer happened, and a lot of other stuff too. Like, you can see that I'm like for those who are watching this, I'm in another location. That sounds really weird. I moved, and there's a lot that happened in that transition. And like, we moved in, or like, we were hunting for places for like a month, and then moving in was like around the time where I had to start like my internship training. And then in the middle of internship training and school, I had to like unpack and clean and, you know, develop a new routine. And it was fine. Like, I really love where I'm at, like, location wise, and, you know, our living situation and dynamic. Like, I absolutely love it, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't hard to get here, you know? So yeah, I didn't really do much over the summer aside from that, it was a lot, but I didn't work. I saved up my loan money to pay rent. So all I had to do was kind of like clean or whatever at the house. And now that I'm balancing school and an internship, I keep comparing myself. I keep having that imposter syndrome of, I was doing so much in my first semester of grad school. I was so helpful and took initiative, and I was so capable. I was on top of everything. I was the person to go to ask about things, which I really shouldn't have been the one to do that. Like, I wasn't an official TA or anything for any of my teachers, and yet I took on that responsibility because that's me. I am responsible for everything. Did you know that? I'm like responsible for every little thing. I'm responsible for my life, your life. Yeah. Surprise. yeah, and to go from that to learning how to take a step back has been really difficult. I'm so used to having all the responsibilities put on me that when it isn't a thing, when I don't have to be, I feel like I'm not doing enough, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not working hard enough, and that sucks. And then it's like, okay, like, who made me think that? What made you think that, praise? And then of course it just goes back to like my parents and my family of like, I was talking, this is like one of the things that I really took from therapy today, was like, I wasn't allowed to honor myself in a lot of ways at home with my parents. Like, you know, it's that brown immigrant mentality of like, you're not going through this traumatic thing every day. You're not having to walk to school for 10 miles both ways. You know, you have a privileged life, so what do you have to be stressed or sad about? And so whenever I did feel those feelings, I felt guilty, because it's like, why do I feel that way? I have no reason to. Or like when I was tired, like, and I tried to rest, you know, I'd always be hit with the, you're lazy, you need to do things. So I never learned how to properly rest. And as stupid as that might sound, like, the idea of rest is you're recharging and you're trying to, recharge. Sorry, I don't know why that fucking paused and tried to say something else. So that way you can do the other things that you have to do, right? But the issue is not when you don't learn how to rest and how to turn your brain off, or how to let yourself be and breathe, you're not actually resting. You're still doing a lot of work mentally, physically. So for me, when I try to rest, watch TV, crochet, in the back of my mind, I have this nagging, berating, oh my god, sorry, that reminded me of the TikTok sound of like, and then I hear this agitating, grating, sorry. I hear that voice in the back of my head that's like, you've been sitting down for too long. Why are you watching this? You know, you have all of these things to do. Get the fuck up and do them. But then I still sit there and I'm like, can you just let me relax, please? Like, I have like 10 more minutes. And then it's like, well, when the alarm goes off, you're gonna get really like upset that you have to go back and do the work. And then why even set that alarm for yourself if you're just like gonna be upset? And then it's like, I'm like sitting here, right? I'm like watching TV, enjoying the show, and then like just it's like, imagine that SpongeBob episode where like you're in SpongeBob's brain, right? So like go into my brain, and what you see is me sitting in a chair being completely yelled at by this other part of me. So then it's like I'm not even mindfully being present, like in the moment. So I don't feel rested because I'm emotionally exhausted. And then when I try to do the work, instead of feeling recharged to do work as one does to, you know, after you rest, I don't have it in me. I'm just tired. So then I go back to resting. I'm like, okay, maybe let me do another 20 minutes. And then it happens again. And then I try and sit back down and do work, and it happens again. So I'm in this vicious cycle where I don't get anything done, and I feel guilty for it. And then I don't let myself relax. So then I don't properly recharge and re-energize, which leads me to not being able to do work that I need to do. And I feel overwhelmed and stressed, and then it just happens again and again and again. So yeah, if you don't know how to rest, or if you wonder why you don't feel great after you take a break, that might be why. You might want to look into that. Yeah. So I need to work on grounding and mindfulness and being nice to myself, which is something that we've all known for a very long time. Yeah. I just feel like I don't know. I guess the idea of protecting myself feels foreign and also too well known, I guess. Like, so the thing with, I think I might have said this before in other videos, but the thing with your brain, with your internal systems, they will never do anything to harm you, right? Or to bring you harm, which feels like bullshit because, you know, if you have maladaptive coping skills, whether it be like binging, drinking in excess, right? Then it's like, okay, but that's a bad thing, so why can't I stop doing this thing? Well, it's because you use it as a protective coping mechanism. And if you've been doing it for a while, your brain then thinks, oh, this protects me. And I've been doing it for so long and I'm still alive, right? So you can't really be doing that much harm. So yeah, just know that, I forgot where I was going with that piece, but basically my brain defends itself by being mean, because there's this thing where if I'm mean to myself and if I say these things, then no one can hurt me. So it's an effort to build thick skin, but then it really doesn't do that. If anything, it makes me more sensitive to any constructive feedback or non-constructive criticisms. And I want to desperately learn how to protect myself with making myself feel good and letting myself believe that I deserve to feel good. I think I've just been responsible for other people for so long, and having to unlearn that I don't have to be, and just being responsible for myself and my own actions and is really fucking hard. So the homework that I have given myself, that my therapist agreed with, was, because I have a plethora of coping skills in my toolbox from my previous therapist, I want to pick one, just one, to do this week and do it. It doesn't matter when, like what time of day, as long as you do it. But the other piece of that is I want to do self-care mindfully. What does that mean? Well, I don't want to half-ass this self-care thing. I don't want to be upset that I have to do it. I want to reframe it as like, I'm taking care of myself by doing this, and I deserve to take care of myself, so I'm going to do this. Not, I have to do this, but I know I'll feel good afterwards, so I'll just fucking do it and get it over with. Like, that doesn't help anything, right? That's kind of like also why I hate discipline, like that term and that mind frame, because it's like, yes, I understand discipline is a form of self-love, I guess, because you're doing the work that you know that'll make you feel good, but like there's such a negative connotation around it where it's like it makes me hate it. So instead of telling myself I need to do this thing and get it over with, but I know it'll make me feel good afterwards, of just reframing it as like how I said it before. And I want to do that with everything, right? Like, one of the biggest things that people say you need discipline for is the gym, or for any kind of physical activity. And I like to go in the mornings, but then getting up and being like, oh my god, I don't want to go to the gym, is like, oh my god, sorry, that was a weird burp. I think acknowledging like, yes, I'm tired, you know, I'm exhausted this morning, and although a part of me doesn't want to go to the gym right now, I deserve to take care of myself and show up for myself. And then also not having expectations, right? So like, usually when I was really consistent with it, I would stay there for about an hour and a half. But then on my hard days where I just didn't have it in me, I'd feel really shitty about myself for not being able to do it. But learning how to be like, you're gonna go and feel good no matter what that looks like. If you want to call it quits after 20 minutes, that's 20 more minutes than you did, like, than you could have done. And you should feel proud of yourself for even showing up today. Why is that so hard? Why is that so hard for me to just be my own biggest cheerleader? Maybe that's part of the homework of like, I need to be my own biggest fan. My number one fan. My own number one fan. Because even though I'm struggling, even though I'm having a hard time, even though I may not be where I was last year, that doesn't mean I don't still deserve love and compassion and empathy. If anything, I need it more than ever now, you know? And this is a process. I'm not magically cured after one therapy session by any means, but this is a step in the right direction, in the direction that I think I needed to be gently nudged to. You know, I haven't had therapy since the spring, and since the spring, and I need to also get on top of like, hold on, I need to stop saying need. Hold on. I want to find an a therapist outside of school where I can actually build a relationship and build rapport with, because I deserve to have that support too. You know, it's like ironic that I'm a therapist and yet I don't have one. So to become a therapist in the past, you had to have a certain amount of like hours of seeing a therapist, and I wish that was still a thing, but it's not anymore. So yeah, I gave myself homework and my therapist agreed. We're gonna do a hard turn here, and yeah, I'm in my last year of my grad program. I am currently working with teenagers as a therapist. It's really weird, like having people at school be like, yeah, she's a therapist, and it's like, and it still doesn't feel real, but I'm a therapist. No, I'm not licensed yet, I'm still an intern, but like, they call me a therapist, and it's really wild. It's really so yeah, I guess I'm also just scared about like letting other people down, because I'm scared of letting other people down because I'm struggling, and I'm scared that I won't be able to show up for them because I'm having trouble showing up for myself right now. It's part of being human, but because I'm in a field of like healthcare, I read in one of our textbooks that like self-care is like an ethical obligation, which is pretty intense if you ask me. So yeah, if not do it for myself, do it for the people, do it for the future clients that I have. I'll do it for myself now. So yeah, I guess this is just a decompression episode because I'm alone right now at home. I can't really talk to my cats about it because they won't have anything to say. That's okay. I mean, the fuck am I doing here now, actually? What the fuck? I'm literally just talking to my camera. You're not gonna say anything back, so why don't I just talk about this to my cats? Oh, because they can run away from me. Yeah, that's why. I'll feel rejected. This way you can't. Well, you can. You can pause or quit this video or whatever, but you know what I mean. I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. I have some work to do. I can wait. I'm so fucking hungry. I only had a breakfast sandwich today. What the fuck? Yeah, I should probably eat. That would be a smart thing to do. Okay, I'm gonna go do that. Wow, look at me listening to my body. Oh my god, who is she? Crazy. Am I right? Anyway, thank you if you've made it to the end. I appreciate you for listening. And I hope what I said resonates in a way that helps motivate you to be kinder to yourself and to be there for yourself and be your number one fan. Because the thing is, you can't control people or situations or your environment to an extent. You have some control over yourself, and why not use that control for something that will bring you love and joy and compassion. Yeah, I'm happy with that ending. So hopefully you will see me soon. I'm hoping you will, because that means that I'm continuing to process and finally giving myself the space to process. So yeah. Oh my god, what the fuck was my outro? My old one? Was it be yourself, spread love, stay beautiful? I think that's what it was. That's so 2014 though. It's so like not mid 2000s. Is that where we are? Is that where we were? Okay, I'm gonna go before I have this crisis over my age. Okay. Bye, y'all. Take care of yourself because you deserve it.